seen what volunteers have done last year and sort of understood a little bit about the power of volunteering, I would now like to request Mr. Venkatesh Murthy to please come on stage and talk about the road ahead for Youth for Seva. Thank you.
So far we have seen how meaningful and how impactful the journey has been so far at YFS. But personally for me, even more fulfilling is the intense commitment and dedication that each one of you have shown. And I really feel blessed to have such a wonderful, dedicated team of volunteers. Every year brings with it new learnings and also presents new opportunities. Especially in this space of volunteering. So we are at the right time, I would say. Because the entire atmosphere is about that. When you look at colleges, every college wants to partner with YFS to engage their students in volunteering. Currently we are working with NSS chapters in Amadi College, MLA College, New Horizon, BNMIT, and Sheshadripuram College. And just to give you an idea, we did one presentation in BNMIT Engineering College and more than 250 students registered. So that shows the kind of interest that the youth have today. And also from the school, college management, they are very eager to engage the students. With Alliance University, which is a private university for management, they have entered a formal MOU with Youth for Seva to engage more than 400 MBA students in a formal credit program to expose the students to volunteering at NGOs. Last year we did for 100 students and the feedback from students has been so encouraging. They want us to do for all the 400 students. And even the corporate sector, if you see, there is a shift in the CSR programs. For many years, CSR, corporate social responsibility, meant cutting the check for NGOs. NGOs would write proposals, companies make grants and then receive reports from NGOs. But there has been a shift in that space also. Many companies are looking at engaging the employees in volunteering, not just cutting checks for the NGOs. Currently we are working with Bosch, EMC, Cisco, Philips, Qualcomm, and recently Dell approached and said they want to engage 400 employees in volunteering. So there is a shift all around, be it with the academic community or with the corporate sector. And beyond all these sectors also, there is an interest among the young generation today to volunteer. So this is one side of the encouraging atmosphere. On the other side, there are a lot of expectations from our own volunteers and well-wishers. Often it so happens that if they get stuck in traffic jam, they will call us and say, we should do something for managing traffic. And if they saw some show on TV about malnutrition in Raichur, suddenly volunteers will approach us. We should do something to address malnutrition. And they go to a hotel and see children working. We should do something for child labor. So there are a lot of requests and expectations from various stakeholders, our own volunteers and well-wishers. And in fact, this I feel is a very dangerous space to be in, when everything is very encouraging. Because it can be very confusing as to where our priorities are, when there are so many demanding things, and all are very encouraging. I always say that when you are swimming against the current, you are very focused. Because you know you have to put effort constantly and you know where you have to reach. But when you are flowing with the current, there is every chance that you can be swept away with the current. And you may lose sight of where you actually wanted to head. This is where in the beginning of this year, many of our experienced volunteers, we sat down and brainstormed for hours together to decide how do we position Youth for Seva in this entire developmental landscape? What value do we see for YFS? What are the things that YFS should do and things that we should not do? And the founding principles on the basis of which we can make this choice. So whatever I am going to present as a roadmap is a summary of what the entire team has sat down and brainstormed. From the skit we could see one thing, that there is a difference between individual acts of kindness versus structured volunteering. Often people want to do something good and they resort to one-time acts of kindness, like they celebrate birthdays in orphanages. As you saw in the skit, they buy toys from the roadside kids who are selling these toys, or they give money for people who are begging. These are all one-time acts of kindness which are good, but which are only a good beginning. They are not the end. They can't really address any serious issues in the society. This is where YFS wants to bring to the table the idea of structured volunteering. What we mean by structured volunteering is, while the time contribution from each one may seem very insignificant, together they can make a significant impact because there is a plan and there is a method. So this is the major contribution that YFS wants to bring into the space of volunteering. Because many times we have seen even in corporate volunteering, it's all ad hoc, one-time volunteering. And many times there are photo opportunities, people upload on Facebook, they send reports to the mailing lists. But really, if you want to make a difference, we have to come together, and it's not one organization. YFS believes in connecting the dots. We work with various NGOs, we work with the government, as you could see, we work with corporate sector, the colleges, anyone who wants to make a difference, and wherever we see some commonality, we try to tie them around. So connecting the threads is the theme for this year's annual report also. So our vision is to create a platform for structured volunteering so that volunteering can actually make a difference. It can address the real needs in the society. Coming to the priorities of this year, so getting numbers has never been an issue at YFS. We always get large number of people who register on the website. Without any advertisement, we get more than 120 people register every month on the website. And the number of people who attend orientation has also gone up. Last year it was only about 30% of people who used to attend orientation. But now that we are doing every other Sunday, more than 80 people attend orientation every month. But the challenge we have been facing is actually in connecting them. Because people would prefer a project that is closer to their home and something that is convenient for them. And there are a large number of volunteers who are free only on Sundays. Many of our volunteering work is centered around schools and they don't work on Sundays. And we need more hands in actually coordination work. So because many times it's more emotionally appealing to directly work with children. And it's less glamorous, less appealing to actually do the coordination work, where you have to make phone calls to volunteers, phone calls to the NGOs, assess the needs of the organization. But this is a very critical piece of our work. And I invite more and more volunteers to take on this coordination role. The second important area that we would like to focus is capacity building of volunteers. There are many active volunteers who have been working for past few years. And we all felt that we haven't really done justice in grooming them, in really taking them to the level where their potential is. So this year we are going to focus more on volunteer enrichment programs. We already started monthly meetings of volunteers in 4 clusters across Bangalore, where we invest in the learning of volunteers. It's beyond their immediate activity. They may be teaching spoken English, they may be doing it Doctors for Seva. But these sessions are something common, where they understand the bigger picture and they feel more enthused and motivated. In fact, we are going to have a weekend residential camp for all the part-time volunteers. It will be in October, and I would urge all of you to make it, because 2 days we'll get to stay together and we'll have fantastic speakers to really enlighten us and broaden our vision. The second aspect of focus, the second area of focus for this year is actually enabling and empowering the partner organizations. Because while on one hand we orient volunteers how to work in NGOs, how to volunteer effectively, we also feel that there is a need to orient the NGOs and schools themselves about how to effectively use volunteers, how to design effective volunteer programs. So we are going to conduct various workshops and get-togethers to share the best practices, because some of the NGOs are doing fantastic work in absorbing volunteers, but some NGOs are unable to engage volunteers. So this is another very important area for us, to enable and empower the partner organizations. It could be NGOs, it could be government institutions like schools and hospitals, how to effectively use volunteers. And the third focus area for us is to actually bring more effectiveness into the programs we are already doing. In Bangalore this year, we have decided we will not take up any new initiative this year. So there is not going to be any new vertical being added in this year. But wherever we are working, it could be teaching, it could be doctor at school, it could be green commandos. We want to bring more structure, create more resources for volunteers, more training programs, and also engage the experts so that we actually understand the real needs and create the framework for part-time volunteers to succeed. So a lot more emphasis this year will be on consolidation and also about making it impactful. So that success is the best motivator. If volunteers taste success in what they are doing, they would feel motivated to continue. If they feel it's disorganized, the NGOs are unable to make use of their time, there is all the tendencies to drop out. While in Bangalore we are not looking at adding new initiatives and expansion, all those things, but YFS is going to expand in a big way in the coming year. In 2013, we are planning to start YFS chapters in many cities across the country. From our website, we get registrations from many cities all over the country. But we have been telling them, please wait, because it takes some effort to support new chapters. So we are equipping ourselves with bringing out the handbooks for volunteers, chapter guides, and also a team of experienced volunteers who can actually travel to other cities. So in the month of February in 2013, we are going to invite interested coordinators for a 3 to 5 days workshop in Bangalore and then take it from there. So from 2013, you will see that suddenly YFS chapters blooming across the country. Right now we have chapters in Hyderabad, Chennai, Bhopal, recently started in Delhi, and also we have through partner NGOs doing similar work in Pune and Mumbai. And it's really very encouraging to see many qualified professionals quitting their high-paying jobs and coming to volunteer full-time. And even here in the audience, just before we started program, 2-3 people came and said, we worked for 15 years, 20 years, and want to volunteer full-time now. This is a very encouraging sign. And all these full-time volunteers, they are supported by the contribution from individual donors. The way YFS is sustained is that we use corporate sponsorships for direct programs to run Doctors for Seva in few schools. Like Bosch has sponsored, Cisco has taken up some schools now this year. Our EMC has adopted 2 schools where we have a full-time computer teacher, they set up the lab. So where infrastructure is required and some coordination cost is involved, we engage corporate partners. But most of the full-time volunteers, we support them with a very nominal honorarium, and all that sustenance comes from individual donors. So at this point, I sincerely would like to acknowledge all these donors, because it's very easy to see the value in direct beneficiaries. But it's important to invest in the change makers. And so these are the individual donors who realize the value of the change agents and are investing in these change makers. See, while all these encouraging things are going on, it's not that the country doesn't have enough challenges. As a nation, there are tremendous challenges on hand. It could be corruption, and it could be the increasing divide between rich and poor, the farmers committing suicides, and the villagers becoming old age homes. There's hardly any, in many villages, you don't find youth. So these are all the challenges on one side. And on the other hand, we see a very encouraging response from the youth. So we need to connect the 2 dots. And beyond volunteering, there are also changes happening at the system level itself. If you look at the judicial system, if you look at the electoral reforms, there is a move towards participatory democracy. This entire system and the governance wants to engage the community. So participatory approach to development. These are all the buzzwords that you are hearing in the development sector. And volunteering can really create that kind of critical mass to make even the community participation more meaningful. And at this critical juncture, a lot of responsibility rests on the shoulders of the young people. And the good news is that more than 60% of our country's population is young. And the coming year, 2013, is also the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, who is really the youth icon of the country. And over a century ago, he proclaimed, "My hope of future lies in the youth of this country. Youths of character and intelligence, renouncing everything for the service of others." As we prepare to celebrate the 150th anniversary, birth anniversary, the experiences at YFS in the past 5 years are only reinforcing this conviction that Swami Vivekananda had even a century ago. And honestly, at YFS we have only scratched the surface of the potential of volunteering. The potential is immense. What volunteering can bring to table? As I said, it can increase the community participation and bring more transparency in the implementation of the programs. And it can actually take care of well-being of the youth themselves. A lot of problems that we are seeing with the deculturalization of the youth, the addictions and everything, a lot of it is coming because of the restlessness among the youth. If we can let more and more youth experience the joy in giving, and if they can experience the happiness within themselves, not by getting things, but actually by sharing with others, and I am sure there is no need for them to resort to other things, other sources for happiness and relaxation. And it can create harmony in the society. We have seen how volunteering can actually bridge the gap. Many of our volunteers who had never been to a slum had their own imagination about people living in slums, mainly through movies. But once they start working, there is a real connection between people. That gap can really be bridged. And so it can bring harmony in the society. It can reduce the cost of developmental programs. And volunteering itself can emerge as a new paradigm in the space of development. So in this backdrop, I am sure the coming years will be a lot more exciting, and there are, as I said, tremendous positive changes happening in the country. And it's bound to happen. Either you can be a passive bystander when all these changes are happening, or you can be an active participant in this. Choice is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Venkatesh Murthy. Thank you for really giving us a perspective on what volunteering can do and where YFS is headed in the coming years.